Hi, this is Raj from MR Sportscars. In this video I'm going to talk about potential pitfalls and things to watch out for when buying a 981 series Porsche, in this case a Porsche 981 Cayman. There are some things that you need to be aware of when you're looking at one of these cars, because if you have a few of these things that need replacing, then it could cost you thousands of pounds to do that, and it will definitely make you feel like slightly unhappy if you paid quite a high price for a car and it needs this particular work. So when I'm looking at one of these cars, I look for all these common issues that we tend to see on these 981 series cars. The first and most obvious one from the front is check that the air conditioning condensers are in good condition. There's not a whole build-up of leaves in that lower section just down there. The condensers themselves look new. They don't have damp patches on them, because more than likely when you go to test the air conditioning on a drive, it may not work unless someone's been unscrupulous and just literally done a regas of the air conditioning system. It will work for a few days, possibly a few weeks, but within a short amount of time the air conditioner will stop working because those condensers are leaking. They're quite vulnerable in that front bumper there, so we've just replaced these on these ones. As soon as we got in this car, and even looking at the condensers, we could tell that they need replacing. That job alone is in the region of £500 to £600. If you do it with Porsche, it's more. So just be aware of that one particular issue. The next big thing which we look at on these cars, because it does add up, is two particular items, which is the tyres and also the brakes, because on these cars the brakes can be quite expensive as a set to replace. So we look for an excessive lip on the edges of the discs, look for those approaching the end of their life. You want to check the wear indicators aren't completely disappeared as well, so there's still material left on those front ones. On the rear ones, they don't tend to have that, but check. This car has been washed and not run, so that's why they look slightly rusty, but they've still got some life left in them. But do check the condition of your discs and pads, because a full set could be in the region of £1,200 front and back. Then you've got the tyres as well. So the tyres, you want to check on the front ideally for that there isn't any cracking on the edges. Check that they're all matching ideally and N-rated, so Porsche rated tyres. So these are Goodyear Eagle F1, so they should be high quality tyres and they should have an N rating on them. These are N0. And then you can also check the date. So these are week 38 2020. You look for the DOT on the side, and then there's a little stamp there for the week of the year and then the actual year itself. So that's week 38 2020. And then you do the same on the back as well. So check, obviously check the treads as well. So check particularly on the inner edges that there's not excessive wear, that they're worn down to the cords and they're well above the minimum. These are N0, as you can see, and then the DOT on this is week 28 2020. So they're all within their acceptable life. Same on this side, do exactly the same checks. Check the condition of the wheels as well. Ideally it should have the original Porsche wheels, because if you haven't got the original Porsche wheels, they are quite expensive to buy because they are made by BBS. So they are quite expensive to buy. Condition wise, you can get them refurbished quite cheaply. Headlights are another issue, so check for excessive crazing, check for cracks, check for damage in the corners where the bumper's been pulled off to change the air conditioning condensers and they've taken a chunk of the light. These lights are in excess of £1,200 each, regardless of what version they are. So these are the bi-xenons, but you also get them with PDLS, so they're even more money, so they have the rotating bezel on them. Windscreens can also be a bit of a pain to replace, but again, you can get that done on your insurance, so check for any nasty cracks or chips in those. And then obviously, like any car, you want to check that the bodywork, the colour is consistent across the whole car. Even if it has had paint repairs in the past, make sure that they're to a high quality, there's not runs in the paint. And just go around the whole car looking on the lower edges as well, because obviously these aren't super low, but they're low enough to catch curbs. On the sides as well, we've seen a few that have got chunks or dents in the sides where someone's caught an edge of a curb with the middle of the car, so check those very carefully as well. Edges of the mirrors, obviously you can get scraping here where someone's hit something or someone's hit the car while it's parked up. This car's got folding mirrors, but a lot of them just have the manual folding mirrors, which don't fold unless you do it with your hand, so check those. Rear bumpers as well, check the corners for scuffing. And then underneath you want to check, is there any oil collecting on the sump under the engine. Also ideally see where the car's been parked, so you can look for pink staining of coolant pipes, because you've got coolant pipes running front to back, but also there's connectors running to the front. There's two front radiators behind the air conditioning condensers that have connectors all here, so check that there's no crusting of coolant, residue, or even dripping. You can also check the condition of the power steering rack as well, if it's leaking any fluid through here onto the under trays, and look underneath for staining on the under trays as well. You can also check the suspension top mounts and all of the protection around the actual suspension shafts, and also the condition of the springs in the tops of the wheels, because all of these items, yes, they're all replaceable, but they all add up. So two cars that you see on the market that are the same price could be very different in terms of the condition of all of these components, and can lead to a big potential bill when you take it in for its regular servicing and they check over the car and they say, done the servicing, but we need to replace lower arms, top mounts, suspension springs, that kind of thing, as well as air conditioning, brakes, discs. A good thing to do is also check the MOT history. Check the past history of the MOTs. Are there advisories that have been every year that haven't been rectified, that have been repetitive for 2 or 3 years? That kind of shows that someone hasn't been looking after the car proactively and just doing things when basically they're told that they must be done. Other cars will have very few advisories. Normally you see advisories for things like tyres and things, because people do get caught out by tyre wear, particularly on the inner edges where you can't see. And then on the inside, it's just check the condition of all the plastics, all the leathers. Make sure all the original trim pieces are undamaged. It's quite easy to get fingernails and rip these sort of chrome bits out of the switches there. Likewise, being quite clumsy with the seatbelt buckle and put scratching there. If you wear rings also, it can sort of scratch the PDK selector and also potentially the steering wheel. Check that everything works, so check all of the various items in here, so all the movements of the seat, up, down, back and forth, and tilt and everything. And then check all of the different buttons here, that the heated seats work, the air conditioning works, again, while you're on the road. Ideally when the air conditioning is on, it should be running at, should feel like basically opening a fridge coming out of the vents. Check the cruise control works, check all of these performance buttons, check the gearbox in reverse, and obviously drive. On startup, there might be a little bit of smoke, but there shouldn't be excessive amounts of smoke. Likewise, if you hear a ticking noise, if the car hasn't been run for a couple of weeks, that's quite normal. After a drive, it should sound like a lovely flat 6 if it hasn't been driven for a while. So don't be too concerned if initially it's quite ticky, because if it's been sitting around for a week or two, then that is quite common for these flat 6 Boxster engines. So just take it for a drive and then listen to it after that on idle. And if it's got 2 keys, obviously check that they all work with everything, so that you've got the knowledge that you don't have to spend. I mean, a new key on one of these is around £500 or so with all the coding and everything, so it's quite an expensive exercise to get a new key for this. You can't just go to your local key cutters. They have to be linked to the car using the Porsche network, PPN. So you can't just go to any third party. It has to be either an independent or a Porsche main dealer who have got access to the Porsche, the PPN network, to correctly code a new key that you order from Porsche. So yeah, 2 keys can make quite a difference to the price. You pay, if you've only got 1, then you need to factor in getting that 2nd key ordered and programmed to the car. I think that's about it. Obviously check the history of the car, the original service book. They didn't have a digital service in the UK anyway. They were all with a paper book with a stamp with the VIN number in. So there's quite a few places where the VIN number is. So there's one place there, the VIN number's there. They should have these original stickers, and then under here you also have a little panel. Just move this seat back. I'll get my torch again and just show you that, because that's quite useful to see that there is on the floor of the car a little section here which you can pull forwards, just lifts a little section in the carpet, and then you've got the VIN stamp there. Then you've got, there should have been stickers applied when the car was delivered new with the VIN number on the front and the rear. You've got one in the windscreen there. Also there. As part of my checks, most dealerships won't be happy for you to do this if you're a private individual, but I pull all of these plastics off and check all the wing mounting points to check that they haven't been disturbed. I also pull that bit off, which is quite easy. You just lift it up and then you can check so it just pops up like that. Then you can use that yellow tab there, hook it onto there, and then you can see the condition of this area here. Check there's no, well, there probably will be lots of excessive leaves and cobwebs and everything in there, so that will need to be cleaning out at some point. But then you can check the condition, the physical condition and appearance of the battery. Check that the tyre compressor is still there, the Porsche one, because they're quite expensive to replace. You can check the brake fluid level there. Screen wash is in that corner there. You can see the strut towers there for the top, for the front of the car. Condition of the cabin air filter as well. Then you should have all the tools in these areas here. So there's the set of tools that you need. So spanner, screwdriver and headlight adjustment tool in that one. Locking wheel bolt over there, towing eye. Warning triangle, and there should be tyre gel in this section here. So check that that's all present and correct. Again, just spend time not getting too excited about the car, looking over it without too much bias of it's a car you're definitely going to buy. I would definitely recommend, if you can, take someone else with you. Yeah, if you get too excited, sometimes you may not notice things that you'll later want to have noticed, because they can end up costing you money. Everything is repairable on these cars. It's not like there's huge issues. The only thing you really need to watch out for really is that you don't end up paying too much for a car that needs maintenance, or likewise a car that's been crash repaired badly, paint repaired badly, or structurally repaired badly. So check, obviously, HPI checks, check things like car vertical or V-check to see if there's any salvage history on the car, so it's been sold as an unrecorded crash car, because that is a real issue if you buy a car that has been poorly repaired but is still marked on the HPI database as being HPI clear. So they're my tips of buying a 981 series Cayman. I hope you found this video useful. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And also, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.